Afternoon. Welcome back to Procrastinator's Pitstop. I am sitting here with another amazing guest for you today. Christoffel Sneijders is a globally recognized MCC coach, author, and creator of the Three Brains Intelligence Model, who has spent over 33 years guiding individuals and organizations worldwide to align their head, heart, and gut for transformative leadership, decision making, and personal fulfillment. Christoffel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris. Say, and we have almost the same starting name, Christoffel. So that's already making a bond. Besides, we have the same kind of job, helping people become better in whatever they do and want to do in their life. So it's a lot of mutual things we have and passions.
But definitely a lot of mutual passions, and I'm really excited to dive into this one because I really enjoyed the model and well, I'll save it for later on because I want you to explain the model. But before we get started, I do like to have an icebreaker on the show, and the question for you today is: which cartoon character do you resonate with the most, and why?
Wow, that's a good one. Cartoon thing. Wow, I wanted in the old days I would have said Garfield. In the old days, because I also love to be lazy and eat a lot. Although I'm extremely sporty and extremely healthy, so that it doesn't fit in that part. But what I always liked, but it's not really cartoons, but it's a more is comic. I always loved say Asterix and Obelix, and then being Asterix, the little smart ass guy, but he needed some extra potion to be really strong, but always has a big friend who helped him out.
I like that. I like that. I think that's the first time I think anyone's mentioned them. I like that.
It is more European comic, yeah, so maybe that's why. I'm European, and Asterix and Obelix is more European, although they become more global. But
Yeah, no, I think there was a recent movie actually that made its debut, and it was worldwide. A new animated one, I think. I'll have to look that one up after now. Just sliding into it easily here, Christopher. How do you define procrastination, and what does it mean to you personally?
define procrastination. For me, procrastination is there are things decided to do, and we can discuss who decided it is an external force or an internal force. And some procrastination is that the moment you planned to do it, you're actually doing other things. You're not doing it. And what's my personal experience? I'm great. My girlfriend always say you're extremely disciplined, but I love to procrastinate. I love say to work. You could say not under stress, but a little bit under stress. I like to wait as long as possible to make it really happen. And I have the beautiful excuse, like so many people, at least it gives me more time to think about it. What I now learned in all those years, actually, most times I first start doing it when I get the assignment, and then before time I review it. And actually, in the in between time, a lot of new ideas and new suggestions come up, so I can just make it better. So that's my personal thing. But I say I love the Monday morning procrastination. In that part, I'm really good in that, and especially in Monday morning, I'm amazing in procrastination.
I love that, and it's true. Monday morning is a great day. It's a great day to do it because it's the first start of your week, right? So it's like I'm not procrastinating. I'm figuring out what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely, that is so. I'm streamlining my effectiveness for the rest of the week.
That's it's as good a thing to call it as any for sure. Now, we all know that there's no 100%, silver bullet cure all, for procrastination, but
Uh,
what's been your sort of go-to for overcoming procrastination when it happens to you?
Now, the first thing is when I'm in charge and I plan something, I think, when will I do it? And we have during the day we have our own energy systems. And some people are more morning people, more evening people, midday people. So when I do something, I plan it in the time that probably suits me the best when I have to do it. And so in my peak times when I'm really creative, there's most times after lunch, I will not start doing administration. Say when I'm still waking up and having my first coffee, then administration is a great thing. It's just putting your invoices somewhere in your database and whatever kind of stuff. You don't have to think about it. It gives me time just to do it. And that's actually then also when I do it. When I would do it in the afternoon, I would procrastinate right away because then my creativity sparks up. I got my energy there and I will never do it. So first of all, I plan it, say when I have the most chance that I'm going to do it. And that's one. Secondly, it is actually also when I start doing it or when I have to do it, is thinking what kind of reasons or what kind of escapes are there that I don't do it. And so I think already up front, what could be my excuses up front not to do it. And say my administration, and I love to do it always monthly, and again, now end of the quarter, I have to do it off 3 months. That is somewhere, there's no real deadline. And when the deadline is not really near, I love also to procrastinate. So I'm a deadline-focused person. If you think about, say, because I looked a lot about procrastination, because although I will never not deliver something, it's not nice to be it, say, in stressful, because stressful actually stops the prefrontal cortex from really thinking, so it doesn't give the best result. You can do extremely quick, but quick is not the same as good. And so that's what I almost never do. But I also become aware, and that's really a thing. If I don't plan it in a day, I would say biologically do it the best. I don't do it. Then I procrastinate. Then I move it to a spot where it fits better until it cannot be moved anymore. So I know my own weaknesses in those kind of stuff, what I do and don't do. And it's not the best. And if you think about it, you said about 3 brains, I looked, say, also at my people I know and partners I know. And one of my ex-partners was an accountant. And she was extremely annoying good in that part. So she made in the morning a list of to-do, and she just ticked the boxes A, B, C, D. And her motivation was, if you tick the box, she was totally happy and got a dopamine rush of it and did it. Now, for me, that doesn't work. If I see a list of 20 things to do, I have like 20 things. Let's first start with a coffee. If you look, say, at what brain was her dominant and how much make decisions, she was different than me. So in my case, if you would look at it, say, my heart and my gut are my main decision makers in just normal decisions. And they don't know time. The heart and the gut don't know time. So they're not aware about cause and effect analysis. So if they don't like to do it now, we just postpone it, and they don't see the consequence of tomorrow. One of my exes and who were were more logical oriented. So they could see the cause and effect analysis of procrastination right away. And somebody who's more in the heart or the gut loves to procrastinate because they believe somewhere they still find time in the future. Because they don't think about the future. It's something like, if you think about, say, extremely simple, if you think about a dog will eat all his food. I do not think, let's save something for tomorrow, because it doesn't know the concept of time. Now, our heart and our gut are not like a dog, but also don't know the concept of time. So if they don't do it now, they don't feel stressed because they have something like, okay, there's still time enough, because they don't see the consequences of their time. You need logic to look at your calendar. Is there actually time? Will it make sense to do so? And so we need that differentiation in that. So I learned myself to use more my logic, as I said in the beginning, the biological clock and my energy from when does it really suit me the best, and I will not have all the excuses of not doing it. But okay, it doesn't suit me. Because procrastination happens the most for things we don't like to do. I don't know how it is when you were young, and your parents make dinner, and there are things you like and don't like on the plate. And where do you start with? With what you like or what you don't like? Actually, that's almost a procrastination kind of decision. Will you procrastinate with what you don't like? Or will you actually take what you don't like the first so you can enjoy the last? It's interesting how you choose, because I almost remember that most times I chose the nice things first, and then hoping that someone was an excuse not to eat the other things, because I'm full or I'm not hungry anymore. If you first would have eaten the stuff, and then you're full, or nauseous, then you miss the beauty. So not an one answer, but more a combined answer.
No, I like that, and I like how you drag the gut into that, and there's a couple of things that come to mind with that. The first one is that, going on your gut. I mean, it's a big reason for procrastination. I'm hungry. I gotta, I need to eat something first, and then, oops, no, I'm too full. Now I can't work either because I'm too full. But when I was a kid, and I think some other people too, we were lucky enough to have dogs. I think the first thing we did was look to see if the dog was around to the things that we didn't want to eat.
No, I had cats. So you're a lucky boy. We couldn't use the animals to stuff them.
So, Christoffel, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the 3 brains methodology with it?
So the beauty is, I'm the founder of 3 Brains Intelligence. That sounds like I invented it. Now, the only thing I invented it actually, the 3 brains are connected and they have different kind of strategies. And that we have 3 brains is already 40 years old. In Western science approved. Dr. Andrea Moore wrote in the beginning of the 90s a research document about the heart on the brain. Michael Gershon wrote also in the 90s a book, The Second Brain, and both are real doctors, I will right away say, established there are real brains with neurotransmitters, gray matter, white matter, intermediate matter, and they can also remember and make independent decisions. And that's really important. They can remember and make independent decisions. For the heart, it's also proven by heart transplants. When people have a heart transplant, a lot of people then have, say, change in habits, likes, dislikes, and sometimes in memories that are coming from the old person. Now, that can only happen when the heart has a memory. In the gut, that is already proven in different kind of methodologies. So you don't have really a Cifera transplant, but actually we know that, say, they make decisions and they can make decisions. And they can make it independently because there's a lot of research done already 100 years ago. When you disconnect, say, the whole brain and everything, you only have the small intestine. The small intestine can actually make independent decisions about when you put something in the small intestine. And it can only do it when it has it can detect, it can analyze what the issue is, the detection, and then make an action of it. So scientifically proven we have brains. Now, what is the beauty of it? Because when I came aware of it in all my 30 years of coaching, therapy, and all the kind of stuff, and thinking what makes people change, what makes people succeed in what they like to deliver. So 9 years ago now, I came aware that we had 3 brains. When I was reading the book, actually, The Intention Experiment from Lynn McTaggart. She writes somewhere we have scientifically proven heart and gut brain. And when I read that, I was like, would that be the answer on my question, what is now actually our subconscious? Because I'm also a clinical hypnotherapist teaching clinical hypnotherapy in Australia, and we always talk about the subconscious. Let me talk to your subconscious, Chris. Just close your eyes and your subconscious has all the knowledge. Now, it sounds beautiful, but it always annoyed me. What is our subconscious? Where's it located? To which part of Chris am I going to talk? And we somewhere said, it's somewhere here, that's the safest option. And for women a little bit higher, otherwise you talk to their breast. Now, anyhow, when I came about the 3 brains, this could be an answer. And then I started actually really researching it. What are the neurotransmitters the 3 brains have? What are the neurotransmitters in your gut? What are the neurotransmitters in your heart? How are they released? You come aware of HeartMath, who is really done already 30 years of research about the heart and how the heart actually works. Now, the gut, besides the gut bacteria, also find research, also from Michael Gershon, what are neurotransmitters? Neurotransmitters, actually, if you release them, create the behavior. We all talk about cortisol is a stress hormone. It's not a stress hormone, actually. It's actually the energy hormone. You need cortisol to have energy in your body. But if you release those neurotransmitters or hormones, it gives a reaction in your body, in your mind, and it makes decisions. Put somebody in adrenaline and they get, put neuroperiferin in there, testosterone, and they become aggressive. So when you think about then the 3 brains and what they can release, you can see what kind of behavior or actions they could actually activate in us. And from there I came aware, they're also connected, they communicate with each other based on all the research. So if they are doing that, then the only question is then, why did actually evolution created 3 brains in us? Or God, whatever you believe in. Evolution and God don't make mistakes. Now, and then it's actually becoming easy because we all originated from a living digestive system. And the first living creatures on this earth were actually a digestive system. Food comes in, food comes out. And if you look at a body cell, one cell needs nutrition and waste material goes out. And it does some work in between. The cell does it, whatever it does. So the gut was actually the first thing that we become aware of. And the same if I would ask you, Chris, how were you connected with your mama when you were in the womb? Then you look probably at your belly button. You don't look like an avatar at the end of your head or in the matrix. That is the first part that we actually need, nutrition. Now, based on that, I came, a long story short, they have different kind of strategies. The gut brain is, when you look at it, from evolution and from the neurotransmitters, it only wants to keep you alive. It's an extremely egocentric me brain. It likes to achieve, it likes to have success, it likes to win, and it has all the immune system, autoimmune system in view to keep you alive. It's just me, myself, and I. Makes sense to survive. We're social animals, Chris. When we are born, we are totally helpless. And when we were born, before you can run or walk or outrun a predator, it takes 8 years at least. The most important things for us as humans to survive is to bond. If your caregivers or your parents don't take care of you, we will not be sitting here. And so bonding is hardwired in us. Connection is hardwired in us. And that's actually there the heart steps in. The heart has the only neurotransmitter the gut doesn't have, oxytocin. And that's actually the love hormone. The gut cannot send out love. The heart can send out love, if you would make it like that simple. It can help us bond. Now, then we have the beautiful thing on top of our shoulders. Why is that useful for? It takes 20% of our energy, so it has to have a reason. And it makes sense, because you think, where are all the memories we have useful for? Excuse me. Now, if you think about memories, they're useful to predict the future. What is the use of a memory? It's actually useless, unless you use it for predicting what you're going to do. Hence, we have a huge brain of memories to give us better predictions to survive. That makes us amazing in what we do. If you look at a little toddler who also has a head but doesn't have really everything organized there, their survival skills are horrendous. If you give them a knife, now I would not do that, by the way, for an experiment, but we could imagine what could happen with that experiment. So we learned actually not to do that. Those are the three brains, and they make different decisions to give us the best life ever. If you then think about those three brains, I came aware all of us have a preference which brain is our most dominant brain, or brains. As I said, my heart and gut are more dominant in making decisions than my head. So if I follow my heart and follow my gut rather quickly, and later on I say to myself, ooh, I should have thought about this a little bit sooner. Well, a head brain dominant person would say, let's first analyze what's happening and not happening, and let's then do something. Head brain dominant persons are not spontaneous, because they like to do the cause and effect analysis. So heart brain, gut brain dominant person, you could say, do you like to have coffee, Chris? Oh yeah, let's have a coffee. And then we walk away and think, oh wow, we were doing a podcast. Oh wow, didn't think about that. Well, if you're a head brain person and would say, hey, let's have a coffee, say, Chris, we're now doing a podcast, and after the podcast we could do a coffee to make a decision in there. Now, those are the three brains and how they act. And as we have a preference, all of us, it means I'm easy in procrastinating because my heart and gut make a decision. I don't like it on this moment. It's not good for me. It's not good for my girlfriend. Not good for my dog. Let's do something else. Not thinking about cause and effect. So I procrastinate based in the moment. Well, a head brain dominant person could procrastinate because they're not sure if they give the right answer. They don't know if they know everything. They don't know if they would do a good job. Because this one thinks about cause and effect. Will I do a good job? So they procrastinate for different kind of reasons. They make decisions for different kind of reasons. That's where the history is coming from and how it works and how to make decisions now. So there's a long answer. I hope you still follow it, Chris.
No, and I loved how you brought in all three brains, sort of the logical thinking one, the heart, so that the feeling one, or I guess the intuitive one, if you want to call it that, and the gut that sort of does its own thing.
That's the beauty. If people ask me, Chris, where's intuition and where's instinct? I'll say instinct most times are in your gut because it's survival instinct. You don't have bonding instinct so much, you have survival instinct. Intuition is actually a huge thing we all have. Intuition can come from inside and from outside. Intuition can come from but to make it, and that's a beautiful topic, intuition, because it makes us also making decisions. Research showed we're all our energy. Of course, we're fixed matter, but we're all energy. If you break every atom down, you come to energy. And you can feel that Reiki exists, energy systems exist, and our heart energy can be measured 9 meters outside our body, because the magnetic electric pump of it is extremely strong. If you would close your hands really slowly from there to there, most people will feel somewhere here, hey, I feel something in between. That's not your muscles that stop you, but I feel something like energy in between your hands. Now we're all energy. Now, intuition can come from sensing the outside world. That is something, as an example, you enter in a room where a party is going on or people are, and you come in and you have like strange atmosphere. Was there a discussion here before? Do you know that? So can you recognize that you once came into where people were? You came in here, so like, hey, something happened here. And not because you said it, but somewhere you sensed it. Now that's actually external intuition. Because in that moment, you get information where you can do something with. Internal intuition is actually that your heart, your gut, and your head, but mostly your heart and gut, learned things from the past, and based on extremely quick analysis to come where something is wrong or right. It's almost like a muscle memory that is totally in tuned, and it bypasses most times the logical head. It's the firefighters who in a blink of a second make a choice, enter the room, not enter the room. It is the soldier who says, no, don't walk there because there it could be dangerous. And people say, how do you know? And they don't know, but somewhere they sensed it. It was based on, and that's a lot of times connected with experience. So that's inward intuition. So that's intuition. And there, most times your heart and your gut are responsible for. And your heart in a naive thing van, hey, does it feel good to person? Because you can sense the heartbeat of somebody else, and your gut more in a safety intuition. To give an answer right away on intuition.
I like that, but it raises the question, and I've been doing a lot of research on
Yeah.
this myself in terms of nutrition and the gut microbiome and things. To what extent do you think our diet, and I know in terms of energy it does
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
To what extent do you think that the diet and the microbiome that is generated by that diet influences our action?
Research shows, say, our gut bacteria is extremely smart. Now, we think it's an external system, it's actually an internal system. The research shows gut bacteria can activate our body to create actually a physical nerve cell, a nerve. And that nerve goes actually then to the viscera, to the gut brain, and from the gut brain it goes upstairs. So the gut bacteria inside us can actually create their own communication pathway to the gut and to the head and says, by the way, that sugar is nice, or that is nice, or that is not nice. So they influence actually our behaviors, what we eat and what we don't eat, and what we do and what we don't do. So they have a really impact on that. You said already about energy. It also has an impact, especially also in concentration. When you talk about procrastination, if you talk about doing things, if you take, and I think most people now start realizing, if you take a lot of quick sugars, you get a lot of energy, you got an insulin spike, a glucose spike, but it stops your concentration because you're getting slightly over-energized. So your concentration dips because although your head works on glucose, if you put too much in it, it just gets an totally overrush. What should I do with it? You're over-flooding it. So that makes sense. For working good, and say not procrastinate, it's actually the diet and your microbes inside your gut bacteria are much more happy, say, with a more balanced, slow releasing energy part. If you have a slow releasing energy food, 9 out of 10, you don't have the after bite dip, your glucose spike, insulin spike. You feel much more at ease, and by a slow release of your energy, you're much more easy to focus on your job because also your body is much more than balanced in sending that energy out. So yes, your gut bacteria have an influence. The pity or the luck is, whatever you'd like to call it from its side, we can change our own gut bacteria by changing our diet, as we probably know. And so now if you're always drinking 8 coffee and always eating 5 bagels and you do tomorrow totally different, don't expect right away that you have a massive change. Probably your whole body is in total rejection and in a craving mode and in a cold turkey mode, and will make you feel actually worse. And send out all the sendings from I need sugar, I need coffee. And so that takes a slow time for your gut to digest, to do that. And so I know we're on the podcast, so my lunch was actually a slow digestive lunch with a huge salad with all kind of healthy stuff in there. And some nice proteins as a steak, because I think that takes time, slow time also to digest and those kind of things. And not just before, but 2 hours before, so at least the meat went from the stomach already in the intestines. And so your energy balance is there. And it makes so much sense. And when you talk about now, you love procrastination. If you think about procrastination, if you take the right food in you and you feed your gut microbes the good way, there's less chance on actually also procrastination, because you already said your gut says, oh, actually I'm hungry. Oh, I'm actually thirsty. Oh, I need my coffee. Oh, your gut is amazingly good, and our gut is amazingly good in giving us excuses. But if we do something we don't like, Then the gut brain says, we don't like it. So if we don't like it, it's not good for me. If it's not good for me, I'm not going to do it. What are my strategies to work with you? Okay, I have food in my repertoire. I have liquids in my repertoire. I have actually discussed. I got reproduction. Okay, but that is a nice procrastination, but I cannot use it always. Okay, but reproduction also means you can look at all the different kind of sites on your internet and those kind of stuff. Yeah, so it gives us signals actually with its quality to do something else. And our gut is extremely simple. I've been a couple of times to seminars of Michael Gerson. He says the gut has a stinky job and is extremely good in it. Don't expect somewhere a Schubert or a Picasso or an Oscar Wilde there. But in what it does is extremely efficient and extremely good. So it makes extremely quick decisions for yourself, but based really on the basic needs we have to do as a human being.
So when you're talking the gut, your repertoire of tools is, your diet,
Yeah.
mostly food timings, digestive things,
Uh,
liquids, things like that. What about when you talk about the heart? Presuming that that's more about feelings and intuition.
the heart is about feelings, and the heart is in that part beautiful. Eh? If the heart is strong in you or has a more dominance in you, and you have to do something that is for others, you will not procrastinate so quickly. If you do something, I don't know, making a report or whatever, and your partner is there and actually says, let's have a coffee, then the procrastination could stop in because you like to connect with her and like to, or with him, and like to be there. So the heart makes the decision on, is it good for us? And it is for the people for whom you do the task or for the people around you. And on that part, it makes the decision. So if I have to do my admin, is it good for me? Yeah, it is probably good for me. So my gut would say you can do it. But actually, it's good for the tax office. Now, I don't know how it's with you, but most people don't like to pay tax.
I don't think
So
anybody does.
I don't think. So your heart is not really in it. Your heart is not really into do the tax, your administration, unless you do it. You help maybe your partner out in doing your administration. Your partner is better in it. You're better in it, so you help her or him out, and then you actually find it easier to do. And so the heart makes a choice to help each other, and in that part does it. Then is procrastination is less, but it can procrastinate if there's no connection to do it in there. And when the gut doesn't say it really helps you out, and so the only thing I do my administration is because it has to be done, otherwise I get a fine. So that is really the punishment. And so the gut, if you look at the heart, as an example, my partner, her computer was stolen a couple of weeks ago. So she had a new computer and she needed to reinstall all the data. And I'm better in that than she, as a computer, about computers. So then the heart steps in and actually procrastinates my own stuff and helps her first. So I put my stuff aside and help her first. So in that part, the heart makes the decision, okay, she first, my stuff later. But it also could be the other way around. Hey, I'm going now to make a phone call to somebody I like. Okay, so I don't do this. I don't help you now, I help you later. And so the heart also makes the choice from, hey, I like to be bonded with people. And which person is the most important to be bonded with?
And I never really considered that, so the gut's more, what's good for us survival.
Yeah.
Heart is more the oxytocin, what you want to connect with. And then the mind, the brain, the big
The
boy.
best, that one knows the cause and effect. Eh? I will not say it's the boring one, but I would say that's the rational, logical one. That's the one who looks at cause and effect. Hey, Chris, if you don't do your administration in 2 weeks, you have an issue. Okay, well, let's do it. Let's plan it. This one makes the logical decisions, the pros and cons decisions. So it says, hey, can you help me? Now I'm now on a podcast, so in 1 hour I can help you. That makes the logical decisions. But after my podcast, I first walk with the dog because he needs to go out. So after that, I can do it. Eh? So that things in steps, in cause and effect, how does it make happen? Hey, my heart or gut could say, of course, after the podcast, I help you. And then after the podcast, oh, but I actually want to walk with the dog. The dog needs out. Oh, you could have said me that before. I did not think of it. And so this one helps you to make the right cause and effect analysis. Also, when you have to do a task about procrastination, what's the time you need to do the task? Like most people overestimate their own qualities and underestimate the job that has to be done. A lot of people. So they think it can be done quicker. Well, the head actually makes a better cause and effect analysis. what is needed, how much time does it take, what are the steps to be taken. Okay, so it takes actually more time. So it has to be taken more hours or more time. Okay, so when I plan it in my calendar, I have to make it realistic that I can do it in that time block in that calendar. And don't say, oh, I can do it in half an hour. I need 1.5 hour for that. When do I have 1.5 hour in my calendar? Then, so the head helps you extremely good to make the right plannings on the right moment in the right qualities. That's why I said in the beginning, I taught myself with my head actually when is the best thing to do things. Because in the old days, I could be totally enthusiastic and say, okay, I can do it in half an hour. I do it on Monday morning. Forgetting it on Monday morning, that's my favorite procrastination morning. And secondly, that would not take half an hour. So then it's 12 o'clock, it's 1 o'clock at Monday. Bucker, I did not do it. So I feel bad about myself because I didn't plan it. By the way, I look at it. Oh, wow, it takes much more than half an hour. It takes 1.5 hour. Oh, wow. And so I learned the hard way to use this one for, okay, make it realistic. And when we think about objectives, you have that SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-oriented. That's all had. Because if you like to have your objectives, you don't like to procrastinate, you have to make your objectives, what you have to do, really smart. Does it fit? What should I actually do? What do I need for it? And that is the fact. If you say I'm going to paint my wardrobe, okay, let's start painting. And actually now, okay, you buy the paint and your rollers, and you forget actually all the papers to cover all the stuff on your floor. Oh, wow, we have to go back to the shop again. There's the head for needed. The head make you all the steps what is needed for it. Your head creates the shopping list when you go to the shopping. If you like to become aware people who are more head brain dominant or more heart brain gut brain dominant, just ask the question, when you do start doing shopping, do you make a list? Chris, we can shake hands, but I also don't make a list. So that means when I'm in the grocery store or something, I go through all the aisles and somewhere buy what I believe, not think, believe is useful on that moment. And it doesn't mean it's useful, but on that moment it sounds like useful. Well, more head brain dominant people would make a shopping list. And my girlfriend is more head brain dominant, luckily, because we balance out each other. So if we go do shopping, she will take a little post-it, makes a little list. So you can have to do A, B, C, D, so we don't forget anything, and the shopping goes at least 5 minutes quicker or 10 minutes quicker, and absolutely less expensive because I don't come home with stuff I don't need or already have.
I like that. I like that example. Yeah, but I can make that sort of same correlation here. But it's weird. In anything other than shopping, I'm a list guy. Like, what do you need help with? What do you want done? What needs to be done? Give me a list. And then to my frustration,
Mhm.
my wife says, "You don't need a list. You know what needs to be done." In theory, I do, but not necessarily in the order it needs to be done.
But what you say is extremely important. Eh? We all think we are one human. We are one human, of course, but we have different compartments in our life where we actually could have a different brain dominance and different rules. It's always talk about a sensitive topic with your parents, with your partner, and with your kids. Do you have 3 times the same story? Probably not, because we know in those compartments in our life, you have to have a different kind of opinion, a different kind of rule set. And it's the same at work. A lot of people, and the same when they go to the gym. So also in different aspects of our life, we could actually have a different kind of dominance. And so when I'm coaching people or working with people, I'm much more structured. When my head brain is much more in. In my personal life, it's less in. And I once did one of those assessments who really specifically makes what's your clarity of thoughts. And my clarity of thoughts, my logical thinking is in business extremely high, really extremely high. In my personal life, it's just average. I go with the flow. And then people are like, how can there be such a difference? Because it's a different role in life for me. In my personal life, I don't mind to be forgetting something in the shop. That's okay. Get it next time. In my work, I don't like to show up and I miss something. Then I like to have all my things, just like you, I like to have my list done. So it makes totally sense what you're saying.
Now, here's the big question that I'm sure everybody's going to be wondering too. So, if you have some sort of disagreement, are there negotiation tactics between the head, the heart, and the gut? So you can say,
Yeah,
"We really need to do this thing. Let's negotiate."
Yeah, yeah. It is now the funny part that the internal discussion we all know from Olivia Newton-John, who was singing "My Heart Says Yes and My Head Says No" about John Travolta in the movie Grease, and all the other songs after that. So when we have in disagreement, actually, it's extremely important to start listening, because that means based on their knowledge, they give us different advices. And the head could say, hey, that's logical to do. Your heart says, I don't know if my partner is happy with this. Your gut could say, oh, but this is so beautiful to do so. And then you have to start listening, hey, what's actually happening? Based on what do they make the decision? And if they have a difference, what do we need to get a common answer? When I talk about regret with people, regret, 99 of the cases is that people listen to one brain without listening to the other one. And they say, oh, Chris, I should have thought about this. Then I would have acted differently. You know, Chris, I should have just followed my heart. Why didn't I follow my gut feeling in this? And they all say it. And actually what they say, they didn't listen to all the three brains. And now they say that brain was actually saying something else and I did not listen to it. So when we have that internal disagreement, it's actually that's really for me a hard pause. Pause, ho ho. Okay, that means three wisdom centers say something else. They all are extremely smart in their own way. If they have different kind of advices, it really becomes time to start listening. And that is actually when we talk about instinct, that also instinct comes sometimes in. Because sometimes your heart and your gut, it does not make sense why they say no or yes. And that's actually because they sense maybe something that logically we don't see. That's in research so many times. So if you go in this part, for the firefighters, people who are in war, that the logic said it's safe, but that their heart or gut say it's not safe. It's not wise to do. And based on the disagreement, actually now they almost paused and say, okay, what should we do in this moment? And in simple decisions, it can be even the same. But they'd say, let's go out now. Everybody has dinner. Okay, what should we do for dinner? My gut says, let's go for the pizza. Okay, my head says the last 5 days you had pizza. Maybe it becomes to start changing your diet somewhere. Your heart says, what's actually my partner like? What would my partner like to have? Or maybe she likes to have a rice dish. Okay, this one says, don't eat pizza. This one says pizza. This one says, think about your partner's rice dish. Then's a moment to pause. Okay, what is the most important on this moment? How can I make somewhere an alignment in the three of them? It doesn't matter what the answer is. I'm not here to predict the outcome, but more that all three of them are happy with whatever we decide. On that moment, there's no regret. It doesn't mean you have the best decision, because whatever you do in that moment, then based on that information, something else could happen. But you never regret your decision because you made it with the best wisdom you have. And the simple analysis in that, just imagine you have three extremely wise people around you, Chris. Really wise in whatever kind of direction they're wise. And you ask them a question and they don't agree. Then how do you make the decision which actually of the wise people you're going to follow? Now, that is really hard. Sometimes maybe you have a dominance for one because he or she looks better, or is more old, or more young, or you believe there's more experience. So then you choose maybe for one. What would be better if you say to all three of them, hey, by the way, you have different kind of opinion. Could you find a common answer where all of three of you would say, yes, this is the best based on our three knowledge? 9 out of 10, that works. CEO, president has advisors. Why do they have advisors? Because they believe I don't know it all by myself. So actually what you say already in the world around us, people have advisors. So they have multiple brains actually and find an answer between those multiple brains. And sometimes they just overrule it and do something. And if it goes good, they are the hero. And if it goes wrong, they are the failure. But the best is when everybody somewhere agrees in the decision.
I love that, and it's sort of like the council. It reminds me of, I think, Napoleon Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich, the council, right at the end there. Except the council is, well, your gut, your heart,
Yeah.
and your
Yeah.
logical part. Well, Christopher, this conversation has been great. I could go on for another 3, 4, 5 hours on this probably, but
We
do
will
want to
not
be
do
respectful.
that today, but I always love to come back if you have other kind of questions, because I loved your show. That's why I applied for your show to come out. This is a show I really like to be on. Your topics and what you focus is what happens in real life. This is what your show hits what we experience every day, couple of times. Somewhere we think, shall we do it? Shall we not do it? Shall we go left? Shall we go right? Shall I now do it now? Shall I do it tomorrow? How do I make decisions? What is the best for me in life? And they're so extremely practical and beautiful. So for me, uh, uh, I don't mind if I invite myself again or you invite me again to have learned, but I really love your show. So I'm really also really grateful that I was on your show.
Well, we're grateful to have had you here. Just before we go, though, what's the best way that our listeners could get in touch?
You could almost say it makes so much sense. The website is brains intelligence, because we have three brains and let's use an intelligence. And if you go there, you can find me. You can also use christoffelsnijders.com. That's my personal website based on that I'm Dutch and this is my full name. Most people will have an issue finding it. Although if you now Google it and you type it wrong, you still find me, I'm aware. And there you can find all the things. And I would say the funny part, on my three brains intelligence, there's a free test about which brain of you is the most dominant in your decision making. So it's in 16 languages. You do the English one, and then you come aware of 15 different kind of questions. You get an answer what is the score of your brains. So not what you are, but which brains makes the most of your decisions, are the strongest voice inside you to make decisions. And you get a little report. What are your strengths? What are your pitfalls based on that? So you can have a little insight of how it works. I just invite everybody to do that. Why? Because the moment you know a little bit more about yourself, it makes your own life much happier and also explains why you do things sometimes you do. And you don't get frustrated so easily more, because this is more how you make decisions on this moment until you decide I'm going to develop and change myself. So it releases the frustration. And the moment I knew I'm more heart than gut, okay, that explains why I say so many times to myself, I should have thought about that. Now, it's not an excuse, but it released at least a little bit of the frustration of me that I didn't think about it. It doesn't mean I accepted it right away, because in some cases it makes sense to think about it before. If you say, let's make a list before you do something. But I learned, okay, this is my pitfall. So when it's important, I have to really pause and make that list. Otherwise, I get frustrated. So it helped me actually to do the things. I just invite all your listeners, just do the free test. No strings attached. You just get your answer, and that's totally okay.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that, Christopher. And to our listeners, don't worry, we are going to have a link for that in the show notes, so
Well,
it'll be easy for you to find as well. Well, Christopher, thank you so much again for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you. And to our listeners, thank you once again for tuning in. And just remember, if you can't find that motivation or inspiration for yourself today, maybe just go out and try to be that motivation and inspiration for someone else. And we'll see you again next time.